Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast, or actually more of a commentary here on the Delta Quadrant between me and Banjo. Banjo is a 1200 diamond player. In the last week of September, I'm about the same 1200 diamond player as well. So you're not going to see any amazing gameplay here, but I thought this particular game was interesting enough to cast, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Here we have Banjo spawning at the 10 o'clock position as the red Protoss player. Meanwhile, down over here we have me spawning as the blue Terran player at the what I'll call the 8 o'clock position. Now, Terran versus Protoss was one of those matchups that I've been trying to work on for quite some time, trying to figure out what decent strategies I can come up with. Banjo now going to throw down a pylon and not do any sort of scouting just quite yet. So in a Terran versus Protoss matchup, for the Terran player, you really want to play a little bit more on the defensive end. You do not know exactly what the Protoss player can do. If you try to go for any sort of 9 Reaper now, or even an 8 Reaper, because the Reaper now costs 45 units of time to build, that earlier Stalker will be able to come out and deal with that Reaper fairly easily. That Stalker does move at the same speed as a Reaper, and because that Stalker has one longer range, more hit points, and more damage in being dealt, that Stalker can easily take care of a Reaper. Now we do see a gateway being placed down by Banjo, so nothing too out of the ordinary here. I do have a barracks being placed down over here, and I want to be able to create some sort of front door seal just because of any 4-gate. If there's a strong 4-gate push, I want to be able to make sure that I can handle that whole entire army and be able to deal with it. So now moving out with an SCV, I will begin scouting. I do see one probe now coming into my base, and will be able to quickly find that I am getting a refinery here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to send an SCV off the mineral line and try to harass that probe. I scout, activating the Zelnaga watchtower first, just to see if there's any sort of pylons or anything in the center of the map that I should become aware of. And now I'm going to go ahead and scout it in the counterclockwise direction. I will not be able to find Banjo for quite some time. Back in his base, we do see the second gateway now being produced, and he is also going for chrono boosting these zealots. Zealots almost need to be chrono boosted now if you're worried about any sort of early marine harassment. Because of that additional 5 units of time it takes to build a zealot, a lot of Protoss players have been saving their chrono boost energy in order to chrono boost that zealot and get it out a little bit more quickly, so that zealot actually comes out a little bit more quickly than before, just because people have been chrono boosting it instead of not. Back over here, I am getting a reactor. So I'm going for a reactor and trying to get a lot of marines, and I'm also going for a second gas. So what this is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to sit on a very, very large influx of gas very early on in the game. The reason why I want to do this is as a Protoss player or against a Protoss player, I want to try to use Ghost a little bit more effectively. Ghost have been one of those units that I have not been able to use very effectively, not trying to use those EMP shockwaves, not using sniper rounds against zealots. Ghosts also deal a decent amount of damage, 20 damage per shot against a zealot out of an attack speed of 1.5, which is essentially the same as a marauder attacking a stalker. Back over here, you do see a second barracks now being placed down. I will throw down a tech lab on this, and you can see that I am starting to just mass up a larger and larger amount of gas. So as that gas number builds up, I will be able to, 1, research the stim packs, 2, research the combat shields, and finally also be able to train up those necessary ghosts. So now we do see that the warp gate research is now halfway through, and he's also going for a 4-gate push. So a very common strategy, 4-gate, and I do not see that there are going to be 4 gates. I believe I see only 1 gate with a cybernetics core. However, when I was in his base, I did not see an additional assimilator. So without an additional assimilator, the Protoss player is not going to be going for any sort of void ray, not going for any sort of Twilight Council play. So I am expecting a 4-gate, since 4-gate is much more mineral heavy. You do see back over here, I am getting a bunker on this front door, researching that stim pack, the nice new icon for stim pack, and also getting this Ghost Academy. And you're going to quickly see how fast I spend all of this gas. As now training up a Ghost, I'm already down to 253. Ghosts only take 40 units a time. A Ghost is actually faster to train than a Reaper. However, take a look at this. Banjo using a backdoor pylon here on the Delta Quadrant. This is a very common strategy, say on Lost Temple or Metalopolis, to build a pylon and then warp in units onto that high ground, as long as you can gain sight. However, because there is a low ground backdoor here, you're going to see that stalkers are, and now some zealots are being warped in here. And I do have one supply depot able to gain sight over here, so I realize that he is in fact trying to do some sort of backdoor play, trying to get more and more units. So I come over here, build some marines, and with the number of units that he's building up, I realize I cannot engage him yet. sitting at 800 over 800 mineral, 400 gas. He has a very, very strong army. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to throw down some supply depots, create a wall off here, and then set my units into that bunker. This Ghost with a range of 6 will also be able to deal a lot with these Zealots here. And he also has a decent amount of units on my front door as well. So my front door, I cannot transfer units from the front door to the back. So this bunker has been completed, 35 units at a time. Marines now starting to fight. Ghost will try to get an EMP shockwave off. Down goes one stalker. SCV's not repairing. There's that EMP shockwave, depleting all of those shields very quickly. One SCV, not enough to finish it off though. And so here's that army. Back over here on this front door, I have one SCV repairing this supply depot. We'll be able to take down that one stalker over here as this fight continues. Now, however, my army size is fairly small as he's able to warp in more and more units in the back. Ghost trying to pull away. I am trying to get some sniper rounds to take down some of these Zealots, and if I'm able to take down those Zealots, the Zealots go down very quickly. Down, and that Zealot already down to 14 hit points as these Ghosts are just dealing an amazing 20 damage per attack, continuing to push, throwing down another bunker. I need to transfer some of these Marines over and try to get up more and more Marines. You can see a lot of my units now being trained up. Stalkers going after my Zealots, and so I have SCVs coming off the mineral line. So now the auto attack, because of these Marines and these Ghosts, I'm able to just continue to push. Army-wise, I'm sitting at 800, now able to push back further and further. He's trying to warp in more and more units over here. So SCV's taking the brunt of that damage here. Mass Marines and Ghosts continuing to push, able to deal a lot of damage, able to try to take down some of these Stalkers. He's warping in Stalkers because he knows that those Zealots are going to be taking too much damage. So what, 3 Ghosts in this fight. However, he misclicks and starts attacking my destructible rocks for me, and down it goes. Down goes that SCV. Sorry, that Zealot that was trying to warp in. And now these Marines will be able to fire across this cliff here and take this down. No, for some reason, I think I misclicked again. So he's warping in more units on this front door. Gonna go ahead and just continue to take down this pylon. Pylon has been taken down. You can see the losses for him at 3550 versus mine 1750. Harvester wise though, I only have 13 harvesters. And at this stage in the game, I should have tried to press out with my dominant army. I do know that I probably had a stronger army at this stage in the game. However, a lot of my units are very low on hit points. You can see my Ghost down to 18 hit points. A lot of my units in the red or in the yellow. I don't want to try to press out as I know that he was going for some sort of 4-gate. So I'm expecting him to just continue to mass up an even larger army. I am trying to refortify myself in my base. Also getting a factory and eventually a starport. I want to transition into medevacs since I have invested so heavily already into a bio army that a starport with medevacs would be a very, very strong addition, especially if I can able to throw down a reactor with it. I do build a supply depot over here on this low ground in order to deny any additional pylons warping in. However, he will be able to come across here and shoot at this one supply depot as well, so that's going to be one of those issues. We do see that some now an even larger army now massing up at my front door. 11 or 1275 versus 1700. I salvaged that bunker in order to get another supply depot. I have finished walling off this location. One bunker being placed here as a little bit of a precautionary measure, and some Ghost Marines just trying to take down these destructible rocks. Army-wise, 1500 versus 1750. You can see that I am now continuing to just try to mine as much as I can. Only have 18 harvesters. I am mining double the amount of gas though. Do I have too many SCVs here? Yeah, I have too many SCVs mining gas over here, so the rally point, that's the reason why my mining was not so good. Back over here, though, we do see an EMP shockwave hitting all of these units, depleting all of those shields, so these Marines and these Ghosts able to finish off this attack very easily. One supply depot already down to 25 hit points. Gonna try to send some SCVs over to repair. However, those SCVs are just gonna be a little bit day late and $1 short. Down goes that supply depot, costing 100 minerals and almost supply, or may start supply locking me. However, I really want to be able to finish getting up more getting up the starport, getting up more units. And I now finally also have that combat shield for these Marines. So moving out to these units, going to go ahead and engage here. EMP shockwave, using that stim pack, trying to deal damage towards these Stalkers. Stalkers are now getting taken down fairly quickly. One additional Zealot now quickly taken down as the medevacs are able to regenerate this army. Army at 1350 versus my opponent's Banjo sitting at 0 at this time. He's going to try to continue to warp in more units. However, the harvester count has been even. Banjo has not been training up additional probes in his base, so his macro really not as strong. So if he ever watches this replay, remember to keep on training up more and more SCVs, more and more probes. You need more harvesters. I lost a lot of my harvesters, but I'm able to come back using these mules as well. So you see 2 medevacs in the air, a lot of marines and ghosts on the ground, able to just pick off some of these units here. Another EMP shockwave hitting a lot of these stalkers. Stalkers quickly getting taken down over here, finishing those units off, and then I'll be able to simply run into this base back over here in this gap and take down the more and more of these probes, and Banjo leaves the game. So I talked with Banjo after the game, telling him that this whole entire backdoor pylon was a pretty effective strategy. And the fact that I was able to build a supply depot over here, making sure that there wasn't any sort of void ray play, really saved me here. If I had decided to put the supply depot over here, suspecting that void rays were going to be coming in along this backside, I would not have thrown down this bunker. I would not have been able to hold off this very, very strong aggression from Banjo, and I probably would have just panicked a little bit more further. Production wise, you do see that I am running off of 2 barracks and 1 starport. I probably could be able to just continue to produce more and more units. Perhaps also throw down a command center over here in order to train up, in order to set up a natural expansion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay that I recently played today, here in the Delta Quadrant between Banjo and me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're a Protoss player, go ahead and try this backdoor. If you're a Terran player, go ahead and try to use Marines with Combat Shield, Stim, Ghost, and EMP Shockwave. I think I took this strategy from Jimpo. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.